Thank you for joining me on my 1998 Civic Coupe build. This is about the 7th time I tried recording this. Things went wrong. 3 times.
Hold
I don't
on,
want to.
man. Hold on. What the hell?
Never. It didn't happen. I definitely didn't record this without audio a couple times. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. We'll hop right into it. I just want to talk over the journey of this entire build, the trials and tribulations of a super easy Civic build. We'll start with the good. I bought this car back in 2019, you know, when everything was going on in the world. Right before that, as a daily driver for only $500. It needed a new battery, and then registration, probably all in $750. Drove fine. Besides the battery part, had like 220,000 miles on it, somewhere around there, with the automatic transmission. Surprisingly, it wasn't slipping or anything. And I daily drove it for about a year and a half, 2 years, right around 2021, early 2021. Had a valve cover gasket leak, and I went to fix that. Changed everything, getting one of the last bolts on, maybe the last one, second to last one, and I, you know, if anyone's ever done this or looked it up, you know you need to be very careful torquing or twisting those bolts on, because it's an old engine, it's just aluminum head, regardless, and those bolts are very, I stripped it, or what I thought I stripped it, turning a 30-minute job into hours, or days even, or an entire 2-year build for a Civic. Yeah. I take the valve cover gasket off. I thought I just stripped it. I was going to get some inserts, like the time search, whatever they're called, to put in there. The entire piece where the bolt screws in is gone, crumbled to dust, and it fell straight down. It wasn't even in the top of the valve, the head. It fell down somehow into the oil galleys, straight to the pan, which I guess if you were just, I mean, you need to replace the head at that point, or I think maybe those, where it's screwed off, you could take off and go to a junkyard, try and find those. I went with the new head route, refurbished head or whatever it was. Fell straight down into the pan. I had never seen anything like it. So that really bummed me out. I was like, at that point, I needed a new head, so I bought one. I took it off. I was getting ready to replace it. I was like, man, at this point, the entire engine bay is like disassembled. And I was like, Mr. Moneybags over here, let's throw some more into a $500 Civic. We went with a manual transmission, 5-speed, of course, out of a Del Sol. And I just took everything out at this point, because you were able to do this job inside the car. So at that point, I was like, oil pan was already off. We have the short block, basically. We're going for a full build. Sent it off to a machine shop to get it overboard. We're going bigger pistons, rods. We're getting everything cleaned up, like crankshaft, all that. Make sure everything's good. Obviously new main bearings, rod bearings. With the head, I sent that off with it as well. Why not? We're getting valve springs retainers. For some reason, I never went with a cam, so maybe that's coming up in a future video. We got the new transmission. Yeah, this was all around. This was 2 years after 2019 when I bought the car. Around there, early 2021. Everything going on with the world, the turnaround times were horrendous, so it took months to get that block back. For some reason, I have no clue. Kind of sucked. It motivated me a lot on this build. But while that was off at the machine shop for months, I was getting everything else done. We got fuel pump, new lines ran because we're on ethanol, fuel pressure regulator, got a bunch of stuff in with the obviously eBay turbo kit. We had a couple problems with me trying to get it started that I eventually figured out around now. We're jumping around a little bit on the timeline. But we got an eBay turbo kit. I'm getting that all mocked up. We get fuel rail, new fuel rail, new fuel pressure regulator. Yeah. What else am I forgetting? Oh, engine mounts, all that stuff, clutch, flywheel. Yeah, it's pretty much it, honestly. Like gauges and stuff, all the small stuff, whatever. We got the full build going. Nothing with brakes or wheels or suspension yet, because none of that stuff's important, right? I get everything back together. This is around end of 2021. I get everything back from the machine shop. Everything goes in. Everything's all mocked up. I get it started, and it's running like garbage. And I think it's like a vacuum leak, or maybe the intercooler's bad. So I get a whole new intercooler, different piping, AEM fuel rail. I went with a whole bunch of name parts. We went with a HKS blow-up valve. I'm gonna do a whole separate video of every little thing I've bought. So I'll go over the pistons, everything with that, all the prices, because I have it all saved. And what else? Yeah, I'm thinking maybe injectors. I went with Hunter tune injectors now. I got a tune from him, like off the base map, not like an actual tune. And it's still running like garbage. I put all that in, runs like garbage still. I can't even get it to drive. I'm too afraid to have it drive because it's just idling fine, and then it goes up and down and up and down. Go change the IAC valve out. I change the TPS. I get a new throttle body. I'm thinking that the build is just garbage, like something I messed something up. So before I throw this entire thing into the abyss, crash it, I don't know, there's one thing I didn't do, and I was like, there's no way this could be it, because it's so simple. I didn't rewire the fuel pump. It's a larger fuel pump, so I needed to run thicker wire, but I didn't wire the plug to the inside. Yeah, do that, because that was the issue. And I ran an additional ground to the fuel pump as well, because I just wanted to make sure, and it ran fine. So it's basically a year of just the car sitting, me being frustrated with it. Just for that, by the way. I also moved a lot, so the car sat in storage. I didn't have like a lot of time to work on it. I was working, moved again, and now I have a garage where I could work on it. So I really started digging in, got a little bit more motivation. So, there's a lot of other stuff, but basically the car sat for a year because I didn't change a couple wires. So we're all caught up. I'm trying to speed through this. We'll see how I cut it up. I'm going to be playing a bunch of things throughout this as I'm talking, because I recorded everything. This is another thing that demotivated me a lot as I was moving. I recorded everything up to this point because I was like, yeah, I'm spending all this money getting a new build. Let's record it, put it on YouTube. Maybe someone get a kick out of it. Learn something. I don't know, whatever. Just for me, maybe. And I got a new graphics card for my computer. I built my computer in a way that I could easily change out parts so I could keep upgrading it. My power supply was great, but it was old. So the new graphics card didn't have plugs in the power supply. I don't know, some bullshit. Got a new power supply, hooked it up, it fried my hard drive. I lost everything that I recorded before this. I still have that hard drive, so maybe there'll be a found footage if I ever get it, send it off and get everything recovered. Photos on my phone, random clips I've sent on Snapchat or whatever. That's probably what you're gonna be seeing. Maybe have one thing recorded on my phone. I don't remember. I have to go through everything. That sucked a lot. Yeah, so we're pretty much caught up now. What you're gonna see playing at the end of this is recorded with this, but I like to forget to put the microphone on because it's a separate power button on the top. So I don't think it has any audio. I also just didn't like the way that I was doing it, whatever. So there's a new radiator getting installed because as I finally got the car running and driving, the radiator was cracked. It was the original automatic one, which you can use with a turbo build. It's a thicker one than the manual transmission that comes on these things, so it cools pretty well. So I got a new radiator. It's actually really nice. It's a dual core out of a Del Sol, the SI Del Sol, like a remade one. What do you call it? Like a knockoff one off of Amazon, cheap as fuck. Didn't leak. It's really nice actually. All the bolt holes lined up and it fit in pretty fine. I think it sat back just a little bit. I think I try and go over that in the video.
See that? Hold up.
But yeah, you probably can't hear me. And then I do have another video recorded after this, which I recorded yesterday. I just thought everything needed a little catch up. This is in a sandwich. A introduction rather. So this is the introduction to my build instead of a actual series that I had recorded. Anything else I'm forgetting that I'm gonna throw up here? Oh, I have a bunch of stuff ordered. So this build, it's not over. Like the last 10% of a build is longer than the first 90%. Not for me, I think. I guess. So yeah, I got should I spoil it? I got a bunch of stuff coming in the mail. Maybe stay tuned. Yeah. Thank you.
That was a pain in the ass to get on. What I did, I mean, well, I'll show you what I did in a second, but everything else went pretty well. Mine didn't leak from coming out of the box, nothing wrong with that. 15/16, so I apologize. I WD-40'd this thing up, shoved it in the bottom hose, and left it overnight. It was about the same width, a little bit smaller width than the actual radiator tube that's welded on there, but it stretched it out enough when I was able to just fucking jam the hose on the radiator. It stretched it out enough, and it worked. So there's a little trick for that. Other than this one, I'm just gonna do a voiceover because I didn't realize how bad that mic was, and I also forgot to record audio for these clips. So yeah, I've been having a lot of struggle with this. Basically what you're seeing is I had another issue with my throttle, my gas pedal getting stuck, and it was the throttle body. Oh wait, it was the... Yeah, it was the throttle body. So I'm just showing that it's stuck. I can't even move it with my hands at this point because I was messing with it. I was letting it close. I was like going full throttle, then letting it close, and it wouldn't even open. This is the new one to the right that I got from a junkyard that it's easily movable. It's just extremely dirty. And the TPS was stuck on there, so I welded a nut, or I had to cut the bolts and then welded a nut to it. I'm going to get this cleaned up, and then you will see me in the next clip with it installed. Yeah, it took a while to clean this thing too. It was filthy. I had to switch over the 4-bore map as well. That's about... Yeah, so in this one, it's on, already put up. I put the intercooler piping. It's on there loosely. I'm testing for when I put the new throttle position sensor on. So I'm testing the voltage here. You're going to have your ground wire on your voltometer to your ground on the battery, and then this red one goes into it's going to be the yellow and blue wire it goes into, I believe. I have an extra orange wire hanging out of there because this is the manual swap. I believe that goes to the yellow and blue wire and not the black and red. And then you're just going to turn this with holding... It's a pain in the ass. I stabbed myself in the finger like 5 times doing this. You're going to hold the wire, hold it into the wire while you're moving it till you get 0.5 volts. I think Honda gives you like plus or minus 0.05 volts or something like that. Anyway, you want 0.5 to show up. Here I'm at 4.8. I mess with it off camera until I get 0.5 exactly and tighten it down. And it reads it while it's tightened down, because as you're tightening it, it can move it, and it's just a pain. After that, since it's tuned with HON data, we're going to go back into it on your laptop under the TPS setting. It's going to show the maximum minimum reading with the car and the ignition. You're going to read with your foot off, and then you're going to go pedal all the way to the floor and read it again. And that's going to give you it. Here, my camera's off a little bit. Let's see what we got. After we have to start data logging. There we go. We read it when my foot's off the gas pedal, and then that's set. You could do it a couple times to make sure. Then you're going to put your foot all the way down as far as it goes, and you're going to read it. Here I am trying to show you, but it's completely pitch black. I do skip around here. I'm going to probably cut all this out, but after I switched over the new throttle body, I wasn't sure how it was going to be with the I-Ax, how the idle was, but it was perfect. I have it set at 1,000 and it stayed there.